Hey there, this is Mark, and I am at home. Going to do my reading from the Golden Present Daily Inspirational Readings by Sri Swami Satchidananda, and we're in a new month, June. This is the June picture. It's got a butterfly, some cool wild flowers, plants, and so yeah, it's June 1st, and the topic for June 1st is Peace is God. And Tuna. Hi, Tuna. Come on in. You're right on time. Yep. You're right. You're right on time. You come in and join? Yeah. You want to join the reading over here, or are you going to hang out over there? I guess she's going to hang out over there. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, "Think of me always." When he says, "Think of me," it should be taken as "think of God," because it is God who speaks in the name of Krishna. So think of God, because so think of God. But how can you think of God without knowing what God is? We don't know what God is. All that we know about God is not really God. We only think in terms of what we have heard or read or assumed. In yogic understanding, what is God? Peace. Peace is God. So think of peace always. That means remember that there is always peace in you. Think of your positive nature. Always affirm, "I am peaceful, I am joyful," and act accordingly. If you constantly think in that way, then you won't be running after things to be happy. That is a thought that we should constantly keep in mind. All other thoughts are the outcome of forgetting this truth. Peace is God. And maybe God is, my cat. Definitely feel like sometimes that there's a spirit channeling through Tuna to get my attention, to help me remember what's important. Just this exchange of love and kindness with her sweet energy, and it kind of it I kind of forget about everything else. At times when I'm petting Tuna or being with her. I think it's probably similar to people with a newborn, and um, people in a new relationship or even a long time relationship, but feeling that thing that absorbs your attention, and it it captures all of your senses, so that you're not thinking about your list of things you're going to do that day. You're not thinking about the problems, or of anything that's to come. You're just right in that moment. And I like that it's making this reference to the Bhagavad Gita, and how, you know, in that story, how, Krishna is saying that, "Think of me always," and it's really, he's being a vehicle for some higher um, resonance or higher vibration that needed to come in the form of a figure, persona. Sometimes that has to happen to get our attention. And sometimes I think, that's why in some of their religions there might be some, um, there's imagery to help us wrap our mind around what these spiritual relationships could possibly look like. So a lot of artists and creative people have been able to create this vision of what it looks like. That, these could have come from visions, but it's also just someone's interpretation of this otherworldly nature. And yeah, so I sometimes, if I can think that God is coming through me, and through Tuna, my cat, then I'll I don't know. There's maybe a different relationship that I have with my cat because of that. And then I really like that this definition of what God is. I often try to come up with so many different definitions of what is God, and definition here is my favorite one: peace. Peace is God. Like, rather than using the word God in the examples, what if I just use the word peace? And so I like that. Think of peace always. And just like people say, God is in every one of us, peace is in every one of us. That is available to us. It's not something that we have to construct and create because it doesn't exist. We actually have to uncover it. We have to acknowledge that it's part of us that wants to come more forward, really. If you constantly think in that way, I am peaceful, I am joyful, then you won't be running after things to be happy. And how often do we prolong our happiness, or we think that happiness will come if this, and this happens first, or let me make it through this first and then I can relax and be happy. And I know I'll find myself doing that. Today was kind of a challenging day for me. I was going from one thing to the next, and I could feel some frustration happening, and I was trying to get downtown for this errand, and I wasn't making it. Trying to figure out how to do it. One point, I had to choose that or taking a break to eat. So it was just getting a bit frustrating at times, and I thought, well, I'm sure by the end of the day, it's all going to work out. So it was sort of a way of thinking that, at some point of this, I won't be racing around and I'll just get to relax. And even though I was thinking ahead, it helped me in that moment to know that I was going to make it through that. Rather than just being caught up in the moment thinking that this is all there is, which is sort of ironic because we say be in the present moment, that is all we have. But in truth, I don't think I'm being in the present moment if I'm filled with anger and frustration and all that. I feel like I'm actually trailing forward some other issues that are old stories. If I was really in the present moment, it just would be flowing because stuff happens and then the next thing happens and then the next thing happens and you don't hold on to stuff. But there's something I'm holding on to or some story where I'm like, oh, this is either I'm saying to myself, this is the way it always goes, or it's my fault for it getting to be like this. Those can be old stories rather than really recognizing that there's some flow, there's something that's happening. So the best I can do at times is to be able to say, at some point, I know this is going to pass. This too shall pass. And that, when I say that to myself, it kind of broadens the picture for that moment. So, yeah, having that positive thought, I am peaceful, I am joyful, can be helpful as an affirmation. All right. Well, Tuna is just totally resting here alongside me. She didn't end up making her way in here, but there she is. And if she could hear, she'd flip around, but she can't hear. All right. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Bye.